I attended the Nassau County Economic Development Board 2026 Economic Update Luncheon on Thursday, and I wanted to share with you the notes that I took. And the first note that I took was not something I realized just last week. This is a foundational principle of mine when thinking about local government, and that is we aren't asking if we should grow. We are only asking how we can grow. I do not worship at the altar of growth. Bigger is not better. Better is better. I'm most interested in serving the interests of the people who live in this district now, not people who might potentially live here 3, 5, 10 years from now. We don't, in Nassau County, in Fernandina Beach, in all of Florida, stop to ask if we should grow. We only think about how and how fast. Should we celebrate what State Road 200 through Yulee looks like? What wildlife has brought to this community? Or view them as a cautionary tale? Economy is important, obviously. Not as important as quality of life. Not as important as quality of life. And this county and this state have sacrificed quality of life for economic development and growth for 10 years, 30 years, 100 years. Everyone you talk to who is from here says that what they most like about the area is the slower pace of life, the peace and the quiet. Everybody who has moved here says the exact same thing. And here we are trying to kill the golden goose. At this Economic Development Board luncheon, you will hear people talk about the great quality of life and how the area attracts people and the canopy of trees and the rural aspects and the beaches and at the same time talk about how to jam more economic development, more industry, more businesses, more people in. We're killing the golden goose in Nassau County, in Florida, and that golden goose is non-development. It's open space, it's trees, it's the salt marsh, it's the beaches. I want Nassau County to stay Nassau County, not become Duval County North. And that's not to shade Duval County. That's fine. We need urban areas, but we need rural areas too. Florida needs Tampa and Miami and Orlando and Jacksonville, and it also needs Hilliard and Callahan and Briceville and Fernandina Beach. This is not one or the other. Both can exist here. But the big is crowding out the small. And this Nassau County Economic Development Board 2026 Economic Update Luncheon I went to on Thursday demonstrated that. The population of Nassau County right now is 107,000 people. The target population by 2050 is 183,000. Another almost 80,000 people. That's 70% growth. In hopefully most of our lifetimes, the next 30 years. Do you want to see 70% more growth in population in Nassau County, probably on top of what has been 70% over the past 30 years? There are already 50,000 new homes approved for that almost 80,000 new residents in Nassau County. Nassau County is the 6th fastest growing county projected moving forward in Florida and the 58th fastest growing county in Florida. Should we be growing at this rate? It's been proven we obviously can. Cut regulations, throw open land development to anyone who asks for it. We obviously can grow this fast. We have grown this fast. Should we grow this fast? And that's, folks, what can you do about it? Well, you can vote. You can talk to your commissioners about how you don't worship at the altar of growth and how quality of life matters to you more than growth, and how rural living is what brought you here. But it goes a step further than that. You've got to be engaged. You've got to volunteer for some of these boards. You don't have to run for county commission, but there are all kinds of development board, planning and zoning board. If you want to have your voice heard to slow sprawl and development, you've got to have a place at the table. Conservation Land Acquisition Management Board. Speak at the county commission meetings. Sadly, it takes a real commitment, because the developers who run this county and run this state, they are making that commitment. Obviously, it's their job. They've got all the money in the world to pursue it. They have all the personal financial interest to pursue it. We've got to fight just as hard to keep them at bay. Now, a couple other interesting facts presented at this luncheon. Only 27% of Nassau County's workforce lives in Nassau County. And most of the workers in Nassau County commute out. That means the workers who work in Nassau County come here from someplace else, and the workers in Nassau County typically go to Duval or someplace else to work. That's one of the reasons why our traffic situation is so horrendous. No one who works here can afford to live here, and no one who lives here, the county doesn't have the caliber of high-paying professional jobs to support them. And over the past 10 years, median income in Nassau County has gone up only $3,400. 10 years that includes COVID, 10 years that takes us just out of the last financial collapse brought upon by the developers and real estate and bankers. $3,400 over the past 10 years. Now, surely your basic expenses have gone up more than $3,400 over the past 10 years. Take yourself to 2016. And when we think about all of that growth, all of that housing, 75% of that will be single-family homes. Big single-family homes, garages, lots, sprawl, west of I-95, chewing further and further into our undeveloped rural land. I am not going to tell anyone they can't or shouldn't, or I don't want them to come to Nassau County. But I am willing to tell them they can't move here and necessarily have a single family home with an acre lot. We need more housing density here. And I can assure you that housing is not going to be affordable or workforce or anything of the sort. $515,000. That is the average price of a single family home in Nassau County in 2025. Over $500,000. I can't afford that. I couldn't afford that. In 2012, when I moved here, I bought my 2,400 square foot townhouse a block from the beach on Amelia Island for $265,000. Good timing, luck, good fortune. That's all it is. Homeowners do not have that good fortune anymore. We need fewer market rate single family homes in Nassau County and in Florida, and more dense, affordable workforce, low income housing. The most alarming presenter at this luncheon, however, was a state economic specialist for rural counties. This individual's name was Jeff Hendry. He's the executive director of the North Florida Economic Development Partnership. This man is bloodthirsty for industrial growth. Listening to him talk for 20 minutes, that was the only description I could think of it. Bloodlust. Speed to market was his buzz phrase, and the buzz phrase that he heard from industry. Speed, fast, now, growth. Industry doesn't want oversight. Developers don't want oversight. They don't want regulations. They don't want community involvement. They don't want community feedback. They don't want conversation. They don't want us to ask, should we? They don't want us to ask if. They only want to know how fast. How fast. And the Crawford Diamond development was highlighted, and it is a monstrous development. When you look at it, and they put up a projection outlining it on a map of the county, it is a giant mass slap dab right there. Now, I will applaud the county and county staff for trying to target development to specific areas as opposed to just letting it sprawl every which way willy-nilly. The county is trying to think about State Road 17 and along I-95 and the Crawford Diamond, and that there's a section way in the northwestern county, State Road 200, trying to contain development around these corridors. That's better than sprawl everywhere. But boy, that Crawford Diamond is thousands of acres, by far the largest development target for the county. And the county and the state want to put industry jobs there. And we sometimes talk about inevitability with development and growth. Developing the Crawford Diamond with heavy industry, I'm afraid to say, is inevitable. I think that train has left the station. But what is not inevitable is data centers, large data centers there, the community destroyers, the Death Star projects, the uniquely destructive projects to the environment and the way of life, the quality of life. That can be warehouse, it can be manufacturing, it can bring jobs, it will damage the aesthetic and rural aspects of that part of Nassau County. It will require widening of roads and additional intersections and larger exchanges on the roads, but it doesn't have to be data centers. I'm convinced that is what people there don't want. They don't want the heavy industry. I don't know if you can put that genie back in the bottle. I don't think so, but we can continue to fend off data centers. But it did strike me, all of these people promote our rural areas, our rural character, how residents and visitors are drawn to that, attracted to that about this area, and then work to destroy that very aspect of the community, killing the golden goose. I'm obviously running for office this fall. I'm a non-party affiliated candidate. I am running on a platform of saying no to developers. No, prove it. Not sure, why not? Of stopping sprawl whenever possible, not only here in Nassau County, but across the state, and saying not only no, but hell no to data centers. Nassau County, our future is precarious. Let's just say that. And there are a lot of people hell-bent on forcing as much development and growth into this community as possible. I want to stand up and push back. I hope you will. I hope you will choose to do something yourself, whether that is support me, stand by me, volunteer, or work with neighbors, volunteer with a county board, talk to people, inform people. We need to continue to think about if and should, not just how fast and how much, when we think about growth and economic development in Nassau County.